Your reality is not what you think it is. Your reality is a position. Your reality is a coordinate. So when you think about reality and when you think about something being in a certain location, a location is defined by its relative position to other objects in orbit around it. Everything is an object upon which the entire universe orbits. The purpose of this video is to give you an experience of reality that's outside of your ordinary construct. This is, in essence, unplugging you from what they call the matrix. Everything in reality is an access point. Everything in your reality is an assemblage point. I don't care what you look at, all around you, whatever object you look at, the entire universe is revolving around that object. Everything is around that object. 360 degrees in a sphere. The same with you. The entire universe is revolving around you right now. So when we talk about reality and manifesting, it's time for us to go to an entirely different lens right now. You don't manifest anything. You change your position. You change and alter your position within yourself. In the Matrix, the little boy had the spoon. And Neo say, how do you do that? How do you bend the spoon with your mind? The boy said, there's no way you can bend a spoon with your mind. That's ridiculous and impossible, as I paraphrase. But you realize the truth. You realize the truth that there is no spoon. There is no tree. There is no dog. There is no planet. There is no universe. Nothing exists except for you in your relationship to yourself. So you have to alter your position. You have to alter your lens. It's never about anything external. All esoteric teachings teach this. Even the Christ said the kingdom of God is within man. Everything you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell is an input that's coming in. Almost like a coding language. And when that language, when those codes come in, your brain now gives you an interpretation of the code. It gives you your reality. So reality is happening in your mind. There's nothing happening out there. So your reality is based on your energetic positioning. If you want to change anything, you have to change your energy. You have to change your configuration. And you have to be flexible in your perception intentionally. You know, they have the saying when there's a crime and they're interviewing witnesses. One person may witness the bank robber or bank robbery from across the street. The other one's from a high-rise building. The other one's from inside the bank. They all have unique perspectives and angles of the event. If something happens to a person in their life, same exact tragedy happens to two different people. They have different assemblage points, so they process it and experience it differently. A person may lose their job and like, oh my gosh, my life is over. I'm a loser. It's done now. It's a wrap. I don't have any money. Another person is like, wow, I just freed up enormous amounts of time to work on my business. I've been waiting for a reason. I should have been left the job. That's why I got fired, because I was dragging my feet, quitting that job. Same stimuli, different assemblage point. One young man may grow up, or two young men grow up in the hood. They're seeing dead bodies in the alley. They're seeing crackheads and fiends and all types of debauchery. One grows up to be, a gangbanger, dead, right, or in jail, strung out on drugs. The other one becomes a neuroscientist. Ben Carson. From the hood, different assemblage point. So that lets you know it's not about anything external. It's about the processing of this data. Almost like the lens of a camera. And then we were going to be talking about this at the reset. They have cameras now that can blur out everything in the background and have a sharp image and footage of the subject that's being filmed. But the background is blurred out. And they can change the orientation of that lens. Now it zooms in on something in the background. And the subject, the previous subject, gets blurred out. That's how consciousness works. So technically, more information is coming now from the background as opposed to the foreground. So consciousness is receiving more data from that location. Therefore, that's where you go. They say where you see is where you go. Where your mind is, that's where you go. So the camera took you to another reality by changing the configuration of the lens. I always talk about timeline jumping, and that's the word they use for it now. But you're going to start to find that all of these teachings are one teaching using different language. Macabre activation, same technology, you different orientation ways and poses that you put your body in. Energy runs through your vessel differently. We talk about the pharaohs, how they stand with always 1 foot ahead of them. And then I tell you to step up to your power. When you look at those pyramids, when we go to Egypt, you're going to see every pharaoh with their 1 foot forward. They don't stand both feet together. Always when they're standing 1 foot forward, strong, tall, always in movement and stepping, not stagnant. Stagnation is death. The reason why you're even here on Earth, or at least think you're here, you don't know anything. We just believe that we're here. Somebody told you on a planet called Earth. It's a fact. Yes, we all agree to it, so therefore we're not crazy, right? That's the only reason why it's not insanity, because we all agree that we are on the planet Earth. But the only reason why you're here is because of the angular orientation or position of your energetic source upon which you're perceiving from. I know it's a little, sounds like a little word salad, but I'm trying to get this concept out to you using this language. Try to read between the lines. And sometimes at our events, people closing their eyes and just taking in the information. Close your eyes and feel me. The only reason why you're on Earth is because of the angular orientation or position that you're perceiving from. I told you, when an event happens, somebody's looking from the building. There's a robbery. Somebody's looking from down the street. Somebody's moving in a car. Somebody's in an airplane. All these different positions. And I just got started. There's a squirrel. There's an ant. There's an eagle, right? There's a frog, right? There's a rat. There's a cat. There's a dog. Everybody is looking at things from different perspectives and different ways of decoding the whole situation. When you become more coherent and begin to broaden your perspective and become more flexible in how you can perceive reality, that's how you jump. That's how you transform. That's how you become always free. The forces of degeneration in our reality want to keep that suppressed.
Find your tribe, restore your soul.